Hello, everyone. This is Sethatina Newman, your host. We at GCDnetwork.com are praying for one of our members, Paul. He was in an accident yesterday morning. He has not regained consciousness. So, if you are a person of prayer, I ask that you pray for Paul's recovery. And if you're not, please express your best wishes into the universe for his recovery. The doctors are doing what they can, but best wishes and prayers are also helpful. So thank you. We're hoping for his recovery soon. As a reminder, this is no longer a live show. Any previous shows you are interested in watching, please go to the gcdnetwork.com and download them to your computer, as the library will soon be closed and all shows will be deleted. Now on to our show for today. Mr. Trump, who will be controlling our country? So I saw that on Tuesday, Mr. Trump, President-elect Trump, had a press conference at Mar-a-Lago, and he introduced Mr. Hussain Sajwani and has indicated that Mr. Sajwani will be providing $20 billion for data centers in the United States. That's awesome. He also has money in Southeast Asia and Spain to build data centers as well. So he's building these data centers and he's contributing this money to the United States so that they can support and help the U.S. to be number one in technology and AI advancements. He has been a long financier of Mr. Trump. He financed Mr. Trump's campaign back in 2016. In 2017, during President Trump's presidency, he built a golf course in Dubai with Mr. Trump's name on it. So if he has said that his money was based on the fact that Mr. Trump did get into being a president, and that's why he is supporting and going to be providing contribution of $20 billion so that we can construct data centers so that we can, as I said, be number one in technology and AI advancements. That's awesome. But my question is, who's going to be monitoring these data centers? Is the U.S. going to have control over the centers? Or is Mr. Sajwani? Okay. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but I think I am. And if it is the U.S., will there be another agency developed to spend more American money to keep tabs on its American citizens? Or will it be placed under one of the current agencies? You know, Mr. Trump didn't provide any of that information. He just said what a wonderful thing this is, that Mr. Sajwani is going to give us $20 billion to construct these data centers so that we can compile the data and have the infrastructure for AI technology and infrastructure for the cloud. And that's all wonderful and great. But what's going to keep people out of these data centers? What's going to keep people from hacking into these data centers and collecting the data that's being collected? What's going to keep hackers out of the centers and out of the technology when we can't keep hackers out of anything else right now in the United States as it is? If we put all our data into these specific centers, it's going to be really easy for somebody to hack in and get all of our information. If they can find a way to guarantee people are not going to get hacked in, sure, it might be beneficial. It'll definitely put jobs out there, hopefully. Help out our construction companies, hopefully. But my concern is, how will the information collected be evaluated and protected? We need to make sure that we can, keep our current healthcare protected from hackers, keep our credit card agencies protected from hackers, keep our government protected from hackers. I wouldn't be real confident in having all of our data in X number of centers and not know how that information is being protected. So I'm very concerned about this idea. I think economically, sure, it's great to have that money coming in. Sure, it's great to have potential jobs coming in. But we need to have some more information, Mr. Trump, about what you plan to do with the data, who's going to be overseeing it, why it's going to be collected into one place, and how it's going to be protected. Who's going to build the centers? Like I said, hopefully the construction sites will have, U.S. construction site companies will be able to work on these centers. But will Mr. Sajwani bring the company that built the Trump-named golf courses in Dubai over to build these centers? A lot of times when you have businesses that know a company and know the work that they do, that's the company they go with for any expansion. Will the U.S. companies be given that opportunity? Will Mr. Trump state that American builders be responsible for the construction? And on top of that, will Trump only hire big Fortune 500 companies? Or will he share the wealth with the smaller companies to help small businesses? Again, he's a businessman. He's going to look for who can provide the biggest bang for the smallest amount of money. Small businesses, that's what they are. They're small businesses. But even big businesses started out as small businesses. So let's help those small businesses. Let's do some collaboration between small businesses and larger construction companies. Let's help the little guy up, But again, we don't know what's going to be happening with that. We don't know who's going to be building those centers. There are many questions about this $20 billion investment that have not been made aware to the public yet. I'm not even sure if Trump has all the answers to the questions that I've even come up with. So I am curious to see where this project goes in the coming months, the next 2 years. which is when they're saying the centers will have been built by then. 2 years to build, I think it was 11 centers in 7 different states. So hopefully we will have more information forthcoming after his inauguration. I'm just really hoping that all of this has some backing, some studying, some not just investments, but information to be shared so that the American public can be made aware of what's going on and how the money's being spent and what's going to happen afterwards. Like I said, economically, $20 billion into the United States, that's awesome. Let's just hope it stays in the United States. So on another note, again, still talking about Mr. Trump, President-elect Trump, I'd love to know who he thinks he is by declaring dominance over Panama, Canada, and Greenland. I mean, is he looking to make enemies out of all of our allies? Canada's to our north. You know, we share the Panama Canal. He's thinking of taking it back. We have enough land. The United States, I would consider to be big enough. Okay, I mean, the state of Texas is bigger than some countries. We don't need any more land. We don't need to bring in any more countries to the United States. We do not need to acquire Canada or Greenland. I understand concerns about the Russian and the Chinese ships around Greenland, but they and Denmark are our allies and will defend the area. Now, if Russia or China do decide to try conquering Greenland, then yes, the United States should definitely help defend Greenland. Right now, Denmark protects them militarily. Okay? If Russia or China decides to try and take over Greenland, yes, we should be there to help defend Greenland. We have no business trying to conquer Greenland. Okay? We should not be trying to buy Greenland. And this all came out in Trump's news press that he had on yesterday. Really? Why is he going to talk about doing this? They're our allies. They help protect our borders. It makes no sense. It makes 0 sense whatsoever. So, as for the Panama Canal, there are reasons for treaties. President Carter made that treaty with Panama for the benefits of both countries and the world as a whole. I mean, prior to the Panama Canal, people were having to travel all the way down around South America to get over to the western side of the United States and over to Hawaii and over to Japan if they were coming from the East Coast, okay? Or if they were coming from England or Ireland or Scotland. You know, they could go up and over the top. They could go over the North Pole if they chose to do so. If you were Australia, you know, you could go east. But again, the Panama Canal helps many countries get from the east to the west. So the canal is not just the United States and Panama. Yes, we helped build it. Yes, we did a lot of the engineering. I've been through the Panama Canal. It's pretty cool. But it benefits not just the United States and not just Panama. It helps out the entire world. So why does President-elect Trump think that it's okay for him to break the treaty that Carter made with Panama and take back the Panama Canal? I don't understand, other than, the fact that he's somebody who wants to be in control. There's a saying, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. I know. I don't like the word ain't either, but that's actually the saying. So if it isn't broke, for those of us who prefer correct language, don't try to fix it. It's not broke. The Panama Canal is still working. Yeah, sometimes it gets locked up, but it's not a spring chicken. It has salt water going over it. It takes a lot to maintain that canal. Why is it so important for the U.S. to take possession of it? Why does Mr. Trump want to alienate the U.S. from our allies? Who knows? Maybe he figures having Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, and Mr. Sajwani, the second richest man in the world, on his side, he can do whatever he pleases. I guess he thinks, those that have the money are the ones who should control everything. No. Because just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that you have the wisdom to use it appropriately. I talked about this saying, if it isn't broke, don't try to fix it. There's also a saying, with great power, or with great power comes great responsibility. And yeah, he has a lot of power being president. He also has a lot of responsibility, and that responsibility is to the United States of America and to the people of the United States of America. I probably am 90% sure that if he were to ask the American people, the average everyday American person in the United States of America, and any of its territories, that they would not want to acquire Canada as the 51st state. They would not want to acquire the country of Greenland. They would not want to acquire the Panama Canal. But he doesn't really think about the average person. He thinks about all the people that have been within his family's businesses, who have been there to finance his political career, who have been there supporting his financial endeavors. And that is who he thinks about. I tried to explain this during my candidacy as president, during my podcasts. I didn't want to speak poorly of him, but he was showing his colors during his campaigning. He was constantly bad-mouthing Vice President Harris, and he was constantly putting her down. He wasn't talking about what he was going to do to help the average American person. No, he was showing his colors then. I'm sorry if you did vote for him. and I'm upsetting you, but I'm very concerned about what he plans to do with our country. His ideas that have come out so far are only benefiting those who have always been by his side, who have always been there financing him, who have always been with his family. And that's not helping us, the, average to low men on the totem poles, or low women, if you want to get political. And I'm just really, really concerned about the state of our country. I really hope that this isn't the case, but unfortunately, we just have to sit and wait to see what happens after January 20th. And then we have 4 years, unless he really messes up and Congress can find some reason to impeach him. And then we have Vice President Vance, who will come in. We don't know a lot about Vice President Vance. He's been in the news media a little bit, but Trump is making sure that he's first and foremost in the front. He's on the front lines of the media. It's him that's talking. It's his ideas. It's his plans. It's, what his people are going to do for the government, for the country, not for the people of the country, but for the country. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that, my not so common pessimism is not going to come to fruition. I really, really hope I'm wrong. But we shall see. We shall see. As far as Greenland and Canada and the Panama Canal, I hope he changes his mind and decides that, it's beneficial to keep them as allies and not make them enemies. We don't need any more. We don't need any more enemies. We have enough of them. We need to maintain our allies. And helping our allies, as financially difficult as that is, I'm not saying that we need to give money to Panama. I'm not saying that we need to give money to Canada. I'm not saying that we give money to Greenland or weapons, but I am saying not to make things more difficult between the United States and our allies. Don't state that you want to make our northern neighbors a completely separate country into our 51st state. No. That's a very poor way to influence your allies. So, with that, I would like to offer each of you a joyous and fantastic 2025. It's going to definitely be an interesting one. And I pray that everyone stays safe and healthy. And I do continue to ask you for your prayers or good wishes for one of GCD Network's staff, Paul, to recover as quickly as possible. and that he not have any lasting residual effects of his injuries. I also encourage you to keep a close eye on our government as Mr. Trump becomes the sitting president of our country. Okay. He's only a sitting president for 4 years. He's only technically in control for 4 years. We as American citizens, we as the people who keep this country running day in and day out, are the ones who need to remember that it's our country. Okay? Yes, many of us are immigrants, but as American citizens who have been here, who came here, who have been born here legally, it is our country. So please keep an eye on what is going on in the news. Look around. The information that I got today came from Forbes magazine, Newsweek, MSN, and then the New York Times as well. So don't focus on just one news station. Get your information from multiple places. I went to Forbes because they were able to give me information on Hussain Sajwani. You know, they were the ones that were able to tell me he was the second richest person. Now he came by his money. I can't say technically honestly because I don't know, but he was an entrepreneur. He worked for the U.S. military during the Gulf War. That's how he was able to come up with the money he needed for properties, for building his empire. So that's how he came about his money. He started by working for the U.S. military and became an entrepreneur. But I got that from Forbes. So get your information from numerous news stations, numerous media. It's the only way we're going to find out the real truth. Okay? And I thank you for your continued support. I know this isn't a live show anymore, but still continue to watch and see what I come up with. All right? So with that, what's up, America? Hopefully we can keep up with what's up. Have a great week. Take care.